Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Girl. Oh,
All right.
just imagine it's there.
Apparently, the recording's in progress.
My God, don't you know it?
Cheers, sir. Even though we are
cheers to
not
you.
together due to gas prices.
All over
Yeah,
the place, man.
Dude, I drive a Toyota 4Runner. Great car. Thing is a guzzler. Like, I might as well be burning a fuel refinery.
Yeah.
The thing, it's killing me right now.
I was joking with Nadine. I was like, we're like a one car house anyway right now. And
yeah. And that Subaru is not too bad.
No, it's not too bad. But I was like, I'm really grateful we're only filling up one tank at the moment, though.
Oh yeah.
But that being said, you know, just as gas prices are fucking terrible doesn't mean entertainment has been also. We've had some good shit come out recently. Like we've had some cool like stuff happening.
And the mother of all, it feels like every few fucking years there's a huge event that happens that completely overshadows the winners of the Oscars.
Oh.
And we got this one. A few years ago was the whole fucking La La Land thing.
Wait, what was that?
It was like La La Land Moonlight, where they read out the wrong Best Picture.
Oh,
you remember that?
I loosely. It's so they.
Yeah, I think that was like 2015. I think so. Fucking 5 years ago, or 7 years ago already. Damn,
that's terrible.
No, yeah, they read out the wrong Best Picture. They all went up and celebrated, and then a dude like ran out. One of the producers like ran out on stage and was like, "Guy, there's been a mistake."
Oh my God. Like they let like that's the worst. I mean, that makes it even worse. Like everybody being up there and shit. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I guess I forgot about that for the most part.
But then
but
I saw a bunch of interviews like with like Emma Stone and all them. They were like just like fucking like they were weirdly privileged to be a part of such a weird thing that's gonna probably be remembered for a long time.
Yeah,
it's like
La La Land. I've never seen it.
No, I'm more so that like weird thing at the Oscars. Was it like they were on stage celebrating? They were on stage celebrating only to get like interrupted, and then like they all started celebrating for these people.
Yeah,
like, it's a fucking bizarre thing.
I don't know, man. The Oscars still don't have a fucking put together. I mean,
it's a real. You could say it was a real slap in the face to the La La Land guys.
Well, somebody had to upstage that moment. There hadn't been that much drama since then, I suppose.
After I was not watching the Oscars, but as soon as Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, it was the next thing I saw fucking everywhere the next time I opened up Instagram.
Yeah, it's still like quite a bit like all over the place. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, Dusty on Under Further Review, like right after we finished recording, he was like, "Did you guys hear about that?" It happened. It was like that night or whatever, you know. And so, I mean, it's an interesting dynamic. So you have people who are on one side, they're like, well, Will Smith was standing up, you know, doing something, you know, solid by his wife. And other people are like, yeah, but Chris Rock's a fucking comedian, hosting a show, telling jokes. Then he's roasting the audience at times. Like he needs to sit the fuck down.
It was pretty tame.
Yeah, it wasn't even a bad joke. Like it was a funny joke, and the fact that Will Smith laughed right before all of it was like
not a good look.
No, and so you know, I saw this was something.
Twitter's
great. Twitter's great for some things. I saw actually today of all things, like you know, somebody had dug up a clip of Will Smith making fun of a bass player on oh my God, on the Arsenio Hall show, who was bald and had alopecia. Like
I think
and I was like, and the Twitter's got it, like the internet's got an answer for everything, man.
dude. Like, and I love the build up. It was so tame. Like the joke before was just like, was Chris Rock making fun of the fact that Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz, who are married, both are nominated, and how if Penelope loses, then Javier is gonna be like, no, don't give me the award, don't give me the award. And it was just like these tame jokes about relationships.
Yeah, I feel like it's I don't know. It's a weird situation. It'll definitely be remembered, we'll say.
Hey, some of the roasts that are coming from like comedians, like slightly defending Chris Rock by just absolutely rinsing Will Smith, are pretty funny.
Yeah, dude. Well, Will Smith, the Fresh Prince, has got to keep his fucking nose down for a while, like just because like it's not a good look to have done that. And like I said earlier, like there's this general understanding when you go to a fucking comedy show or something, like not that this was just a straight comedy show, but
he was emceeing. It's even less appropriate at the Oscars.
Exactly. And it's like,
not that it would be in the first place.
You have the right to walk the fuck out, dude. Like,
or approach him off when it's not live.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but there's all this shit going around about it. Like people are like, the Academy should take away Will's award and shit. And like, that's just nonsense. Like the dude's work in King Richard, which I'm looking forward to watching, has nothing to do with that moment. And it's a slap in the face to that move, to everybody in that movie, quite frankly. But you also have things where it's like they're going around the internet where it's like there's like a fake apology issued by Chris Rock, and like people have had to come out and be like, Chris Rock didn't
weird
write that, like Dude,
I think
it's a moment,
man.
For sure.
I think it's an interesting thing because like no one's completely right, no one's completely wrong. Was it a slightly distasteful joke? Yes. Will Smith should slap the guy.
I mean, I don't know. People roast people all the time.
Exactly.
The joke was literally like something like, "What are you looking forward to seeing you in G.I. Jane 2?" Like,
fucking nothing.
It's a fucking funny joke. Like,
Will Smith thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Should we get in?
Back to not caring about the Oscars
for the next 7 years until there's like something fucking crazy that happens next time.
Yeah, exactly. I believe.
Always.
What do we got this week?
This sort of feeds into an overarching theme that will persist through a couple things this episode. The sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has been delayed.
Motherfuckers.
By like 3 months. They said tentatively, I think they said spring 23. It was winter 22. Disappointing. That said, they showed a bit of new footage, and I'll get into that in a sec. Apparently, the Switch 2 is about to come out.
Oh,
and that's going to be the launch title.
Oh, okay. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, they put out the OLED Switch a year back, which got like very mixed receptions because the only difference was that it had a better handheld screen. But it's sort of due for like a bit of a buff on the side of the like actual console itself. Some of the games aren't running super well. Literally, one of my few criticisms of Pokemon Legends was that this game does not run well and it doesn't look good. Probably because the Switch can't run it. Like,
interesting. Okay.
So it's like I can't imagine with like an even more beefy Breath of the Wild, which already was like pushing that console as hard as it could go.
Yeah.
How much more does it have left to give? So it makes sense that they're putting it on like potentially a newer version of the console.
Yeah. Well, and it's not like a huge shove, it's not like winter 2023. So
it's not. Yeah, I think that sort of is. Well, they showed a bit of new footage. They didn't give it like a formal title yet. They'll probably put that out E3 this summer. But I think I'm like okay with it. And I've said this before when stuff gets delayed, where it's a film or a game or anything. It's like if the product is better for it, go to town. Within reason, perfectly fine. If you can validate the delay and you're able to show me in some form that it's merited, I'm down.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you there for sure. Like, I'd rather have a good product than rush it out anytime.
Yeah. That said, what I find so interesting, and the new bit of footage essentially confirms this, is that we're sort of in like sort of like a return to what happened with Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. So I don't know if you've heard about this, but like the deal with Majora's Mask, it was released like a year and a half after Ocarina of Time. And they had so much. Ocarina of Time was originally supposed to be an even larger game at the time. So they had a bunch of unused assets or assets that were minimally used.
Okay.
And they were like, we wanted to do more with this. It didn't make sense at the time. Why don't we just take a year and make another game? And that's how Majora's Mask came to be. Okay. They just used the unused concept art or the unused assets from Ocarina of Time and sort of like repurpose them in a way to attach to that story a little like coda.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. Majora's Mask is fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So what's crazy is that almost everything we've seen for Breath of the Wild 2 is rooted in concept art that's been publicly released from Breath of the Wild.
Oh.
Things like one of the things that looks like happens is that you don't have the Sheikah Slate anymore, or Link doesn't, but his arm's all mutated. It's like turned into Sheikah technology, and the Master Sword is completely busted. What? It's like it has also been like weirdly mutated. It's all concept art for Breath of the Wild that's been put out, and all these like crazier, very like not like horror-y, but sort of more unsettling vibes that never really made the cut in the original. We saw a bit of, but it's like they're finally actually like using this type of stuff and expanding on it. Nice. It's like if the ideas are there and they're good enough, might as well fucking do it, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that's you know, I mean, everybody likes to see like a story like, you know, or characters like Link or like the world of Zelda, you know, and like they want to see that kind of like turn in different directions. So doing like something slightly dark with a storyline is fucking welcome.
Exactly.
You know? So that's cool. That'll be really interesting, and you know that'll show like this cool cohesiveness between the two games. I think also.
I think one of the cool things about that franchise overall is that there's so much, like there's always such a huge gap between Zelda games. Like Majora's Mask was 2 years-ish, year and a half, 2 years. But most of the time it's like 5 to 8 years between titles.
Yeah.
And they always have their time to breathe. And part of the beauty of the franchise is that there's a lot of mysteries that just never get answered. You might have some pieces, but that sort of the lore is never fully complete.
Yeah.
And there was a ton of that in Breath of the Wild. Like there was a whole, like you could dig into some of like the in-game stuff and figure out there was this whole civilization that was like barbarians that had like some form of enhanced technology that just disappeared one day. But their remnants are like all over specific parts of the map.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck was the deal with that? And just to see now that Link is dressed like one of them in the new trailers. So it's like, what the fuck is going on? I'm always down for good ideas being expanded upon. So,
yeah, dude, for sure. Well, fuck. I mean, definitely worth holding your breath for, you know.
Have you played through the first Breath of the Wild yet? Dude, you got to do it. Oh, it's so good.
I know.
It's one of those few games. Like I think people are like, I think sometimes people get a bit fucking crazy about recommending stuff. Like I know I'm guilty of it. Destiny's not as good as I make it sound. and I just really enjoy it. But I genuinely think you are doing a disservice to yourself if you don't play like Breath of the Wild. And like there are very few games that I can say that about. It's so good.
Well, I hope I beat it before or play it through before I get the next game that I'm looking forward to getting. So,
which is
well, it technically releases at the end of the year, but it's not any new games. It's just like reissuing of all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games in one collection. It's called the Cowabunga Collection.
Yes, we remember we watched the trailer without audio.
No. So the no audio trailer was for this game that's coming out on the Switch called Shredder's Revenge.
Oh, okay.
But this is like literally like a collection of like the arcade game, the games from the original Nintendo, the Game Boy games, like
dude,
the
that's
fucking
sick.
yeah, like Turtles in Time, like every turtle game that like except for like that they came out on those older consoles and like the arcades and stuff. Like
A lot of
it's
those
like
games are awesome.
yeah, it's only going to be like $40, and it's going to be for like a PS4 and like above, and that kind of goes for Xbox equivalents, like newer generation as well as like the most recent.
Dude, I think while that sounds great, and there are a few things more on brand for you, so I respect it.
That is pretty much on fucking brand, but hell yeah, man. Well,
I thought you were gonna say Hogwarts Legacy, but
no. Although I do look forward to that too. I guess I'll probably end up purchasing that before the Cowabunga Collection.
Actually, there's a bit of news. They completely scrapped the multiplayer for Hogwarts Legacy. It is a single player only experience.
Oh,
which is slightly disappointing. I also understand.
I feel like it'll just make it run smoother, probably.
Yeah, and then the multiplayer functionality can really dig into like how other systems work.
Yeah,
like they'd probably have to dial back on like the character dialogue and interactions with NPCs to make up for the fact that there are a bunch of people occupying the shared world.
Yeah, I'd much rather have more of a let's just call it a Hogwarts Skyrim akin experience.
I agree. Yeah, like The Witcher,
Yeah, dude, where I'm just like walking. I don't care if I guess like multiplayer would be kind of neat, but like overall, if it would like if I can get more out of the world and like maybe even just like interacting with like different storylines that they build into it and stuff, I'd rather have that.
I completely agree. I think like The Witcher and Cyberpunk, like as like those are fucking living worlds to play in. Neither of them have multiplayer.
Yeah,
it's like it's in their regard. Breath of the Wild as well. It's like functional worlds that are fun to be a part of, don't require having other players in them.
Yeah.
So
well, I guess let's just hope Hogwarts Legacy doesn't get delayed.
Fucking Christ, I'd be livid. So out of the game minute into another delay.
Oh my god, yeah, this one's
barely though. It's like a few days.
Yeah, it sucks, but I know they're gonna get roasted for it. So Obi-Wan, the new Obi-Wan series has been delayed. Yeah. What's the delayed? It's gone
2 days,
25th to the 27th.
Yes.
Jeez.
But do you know what the deal is? They're putting out 2 episodes instead of 1.
Yeah, so they're making
that's how they win people back.
Exactly. I can live with it. 2 days is nothing to me there, so I think I probably wouldn't have watched it by then anyway.
They were probably worried that they would be directly competing with Stranger Things, which releases on the 24th, I believe.
Dang, yeah. I mean, honestly, it's probably a good call, and
it's probably a great call.
Doing the double release is. Dude, May's gonna be fucking great. I can't wait for that week.
Dude, yeah. I mean, we're building up into like the summer shit now. We got new series left and right.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be dope. But man, I can't wait. I cannot wait to dig into that Obi-Wan series though.
It's gonna be so fun.
I actually rewatched the trailer earlier today because I was just like,
it's so good. It's a genuinely great trailer.
It's I mean, and it's intriguing. You're just like, what is this like little side quest that he's doing here? Like how is it gonna involve Darth Vader? Because like I keep reading about all over my fucking Instagram feed and shit. Like you just see like like Hayden Christensen quotes about how being Darth Vader again is like all feels natural and shit, and you're just like, I think it's so fucking cool that he's involved, but like, how is it going to be seen? Like,
how does it work?
Yeah. Like, what is this Vader that we're going to see,
Dude, I think when I watched that trailer the first time and Duel of the Fates kicked in.
Oh yeah.
I audibly gasped.
I was there. I buckled up for that. I was like,
I'm in.
Yeah.
Dude, I think I'm so excited for that series. I think hopefully it's been such a long time coming.
Oh my God.
Imagine, dude, the world will burn if Obi-Wan is not a good series.
Like truly, like it will like they will lose so much faith in the Star Wars brand if they fuck up that series.
It's people have been asking for it, whether it's a movie or a series, for the better part of 2 decades.
Like I'm really hoping that they can combine certain vibes, like like
Seems like they're getting some prequel love, you know?
Oh, for sure. But like there's some really, you got those like dark, okay, I mean, obviously there's like dark moments and like things like Rogue One that are very weighty, and I hope that they bring some of that kind of weightiness to some of this, like.
Because I think that was the best part of the I think like the prequels have their issues. I mean, Phantom Menace literally is only saved by the Darth Maul fight. Attack of the Clones has nothing going for it. Revenge of the Sith, I feel like, is the only actually like good movie of the bunch because it gets so heavy.
Sort of. I mean, the stakes get ramped up. It's like,
I mean, dude, Order 66. All the like, say what you will about Hayden Christensen being a fucking rock, like that barely can emote. Like at least in that film.
At least in that. Hopefully he's grown.
Yeah, hopefully he's grown as an actor. But at least in that circumstance, like, say what you will about his acting, just the like Ewan McGregor selling it, and fucking Order 66, and the build up and all the tension, sort of knowing where this is all going in the end, made that movie really entertaining, at least on subsequent watches. Definitely the most of the prequels.
Yeah.
Inject some of that.
Well, for sure. I think like, I don't know. I'm just like really intrigued to see where they're going with this, because I don't know, man. Like they could do, like if they can pull this off, they could start doing like all sorts of character like limited series, and that would be fucking dope, dude.
They're already doing the Cassian Andor series, the guy from Rogue One.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm not really like that committed to that character.
And this actually brings up one of my issues. I think the Obi-Wan series itself makes sense. One thing that sort of ruins the stakes for me is the Inquisitor that they choose to feature heavily, the Grand Inquisitor. I know how he dies in Rebels. In the same way, like the Andor series is going to struggle. Why am I going to get invested when I know how this character dies?
Yeah, it is kind of like, I mean, again, though,
it's a Black Widow issue.
Well, it's also, I mean, think about Revenge of the Sith. It's that issue where it's the intrigue is the connective piece.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and so it can work. It's just they have to pull. I think you have to try. I think your story has to be really tight if you're going to pull that kind of like thing off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think what worked with Revenge of the Sith was that it partially is tying into that the Star Wars mythos had been way less filled out in like official canon at the time.
For sure.
So but now we're hitting a point where not through oversaturation, but where it's like you might have to dive a bit deeper, Like I mean, I knew going into Rogue One, I was like, I had a feeling that everyone would die in the end because they never showed up. But you also you weren't completely sold on that from the get-go, Like it was a completely new cast and they were able to use that for what it was worth.
Well, I mean,
the few references here and there didn't really distract from a story that wasn't focused on them.
Well, no, and I don't think I really don't think that's going to happen here. I think what's interesting with that character, with that character's inclusion and some of the things that we've seen from, shows like The Mandalorian, or Boba Fett, the book of Boba Fett. I keep thinking about the Mandalorian episodes, thinking that's the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But like we've seen characters from different facets of Star Wars entertainment brought to life, which is awesome. Yeah, and so they're really like doing a good job of fitting all these characters into storylines that already exist or a timeline that already presumably exists even within the animated or live action realm. It's all one thing, it seems like.
And I think I have faith in Obi-Wan telling a story that sort of fits well into that structure.
Yeah,
because it's like that one chunk of time. That period of time between the end of Revenge of the Sith and the start of A New Hope has been heavily explored, but we've never focused on what Obi-Wan was doing. And having like a cool side quest in the middle there is pretty cool. It's a good concept. But I think it's why why it works so well in the other chunk of time where The Mandalorian takes place. between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Like there hasn't been much set in that period of time just yet.
That's what I was gonna say earlier, is that I really hope that they capture not just like some Rogue One kind of vibes, but like almost some of those like almost scary elements that they brought to The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
You know, like that JJ Abrams kind of style.
Unsettling.
Like, unsettling.
That fear of the unknown.
That's another direction I really hope that they kind of like make more stuff in a vein. You know, like I don't know if they will, but
I think Star Wars is a perfect franchise for that. I mean, like sci-fi fantasy aesthetic, and you can do whatever the fuck you want in terms of general vibe. I mean, look at the different areas we've been presented with just so far. Yeah. I mean, say what you will about the Rise of Skywalker, but Exegol was a pretty cool spot.
Oh, exactly. Like it, and so
the issues with Star Wars have never been aesthetic or presentation.
No,
it's like they're always visually captivating, or like the weird halo in the Mandalorian, in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, that Bowie, get the fuck out of here. Studio Bowie is not being very helpful when it comes to recording today. Sorry,
being a real pain in the ass.
Bowie.
So should we continue on to Disney's other property?
I was just gonna say, yeah, I feel like something that finally was released and not delayed. Like this is the good news, you know, kind of bit.
Something that I feel like this is. I think Chris Stuckman talked about this on a video this morning, and he was like, "This is the first show that Marvel's produced that feels like a pilot. Feels like they're having to sell people."
Oh goddamn, definitely.
Everything else was with existing characters that had character arcs leading into it. This is all set up now.
Yeah. So Moon Knight episode 1.
The goldfish problem.
So this episode had a lot going for it. Some cool moments, like the lapses in time that you get that you see and like happen that your main character Steven experiences in this movie or in this episode are really fucking interesting. After enough of them, you get anxious. Like,
you're along for the ride.
Yeah, it's super interesting how it ropes you into that emotional kind of like moment like that, or that feeling like in this first episode.
Very visceral.
Yeah.
I want to quickly off the start. I think this is telling because she can be incredibly critical at times of bad writing.
Donna? Donna?
No, Kate. No, Kate can be incredibly critical of bad writing, and we sort of let sit for a moment. And today she texted me while she was at work in the morning. Oh my God, Bowie's being such Bowie, stop. Why are you enabling him?
I had to show you. I had to show
you. Kate texted me while she was at work, and she was like, "I really like Moon Knight."
Why are you enabling him? I'm sorry.
And I think, and I was like, she's like, "I really like Moon Knight." I was like, "How so?" And she's like, "It's difficult to say." And she was like, "I'm sort of embarrassed with how much I enjoyed it." And she came and had lunch at the cafe while I was at work, and we were talking about it more. And she was telling me it was just tightly written. It just worked on like a fundamental level. There was a level of care put into it that made everything cohesive, but you never really broke past like the point of disbelief, you know?
No.
Like you were along for the ride and you were down from like second one once shit started going crazy.
I would agree with that. They don't really like, I mean, they don't present anything like overtly like nuts until like the end of the episode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And by that point, you're like in. Like it's a steady enough ramp up.
Well, it's like a good, I mean, I think it's like a good superhero story in any way, right? You got to find a way to capture people's attention with this like human element, because that's what attaches them to the character. Superpowers will always like draw the intrigue, right? The intrigue is there because you're watching the show, but you have to make somebody feel connected to that fucking character. And that like all you get for so much of this episode is just like you just get this vulnerable, like confused fucking cat. And who's just along for this exhilarating ride at the moment. You're just with it. Like,
that's one of my favorite things. I love that it's Steven figuring out and like Moon Knight has already existed,
Mhm.
and Mark is running around as a mercenary, and also possessed by an Egyptian god. And only now Steven's finding out. I love when characters are already like working and operating, you know?
Mhm. Well, it's like, yeah, it's interesting. Like, this episode has a lot of like kind of nods and like cool things. Like Steven, okay, so one of the things like that personality, what's interesting is about like what they flipped with that personality is that in like in comics, like that's his like rich person personality. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to have him, and I think it's more connective to have him as like somebody who works at a museum like adjacent to something that he's really passionate about, but
Yeah.
doesn't get the
It's out of
spotlight.
reach.
You know what I mean? It's out of reach. And exactly. And so that's really cool. And then you get these like moments where okay, the one of the first major blank moments that he has where like, well, it's like the major blank moment he has where
Yeah.
he wakes up in
His
that
jaw's
field
broken.
and his jaw's broken. That's fucking nuts, that scene in general.
Oh,
But that whole scene, people are circulating about it. Like rumor is that whole scene takes place in Latveria, Dr. Doom's domain.
no.
And that was when we were watching
Oh,
it.
that'd be so cool.
When we were watching it, both Joe and Nadine were like, that looks kind of like Germany, but
That's what I
like
said
it
too.
also could be like Austria, and then like you couldn't really make out like specifics
in the
of
Alps.
things. And exactly. And so like that, and like that castle and everything, like it really paints this like clever, like maybe that.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Right?
Oh my god.
What a great and like non-pointed way of just like introducing that land into the Marvel universe. You
They
know what I
only
mean?
refer to it as the Alps.
Exactly. And so like so there's no official nod, but it's there now, maybe. So that's cool.
And I gotta give him one thing. From like that point, from just this episode in general, we saw almost everything from the trailers. There's very little from the trailer that we didn't see.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I love that. They did that with the other shows as well. I think WandaVision, at least so. But
So
like Loki,
you,
everything was like in the first couple episodes, tops. And I rewatched the trailer, and it looks like we're gonna get like a segment looking at what, like from Mark's perspective completely, looking at like the events that led up to like him falling.
Interesting.
Because there's a shot of him. There's a shot that looks like him falling to the ground.
Okay.
In the trailer. So
I mean, I think that'd be really, really interesting to see like that kind of gap. Because obviously you're like, well, what the fuck is the deal with the scarab? So yeah, so I thought that was really cool. Like, and there's this like brief shot it's when he's missing that bus.
Yeah.
Like it covers up like a part of the building behind the bus, and it clearly says the word Atlantis. And
no, what?
Yeah. And so it's like it's another, like rumor has it that they're I mean, that's just like a good throwaway, like
it's a great throwaway.
But rumor has it that that Namor is going to be featured in Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
Right. So
a rumor also has it that the fucking the Greek gods are going to show up in Moon Knight.
I mean, that'd be interesting. Like, I mean, dude, I would love. Hercules is such a fun character in the Marvel universe. It'd be really cool if they end up showing like, but there's been no speculation about Hercules anywhere. So they would have had to keep that on such tight wraps. You know what I mean?
Well, I have more faith in Marvel than Sony. So,
well, for sure. But for sure. But I mean, overall, this is a really cool first episode. I will say this, like, and I'm going to be one of those small majority of people, but like, how you were talking about, they have to sell you on this pilot.
Yeah.
Like they really need to do a better job of cleaning up some of the CGI and stuff in this. Like I have high expectations for a Marvel production based on the other shows that they've made. And this one by those standards looks kind of like garbage.
I think specifically the car chase, there was some really janky shit. I think when it mattered towards the end of the episode with the Moon Knight suit and the dog, didn't look bad, and they were definitely the environment that they were using, the darkness of that gave them some help with the CGI, absolutely. But No, I can completely understand. Like Loki looked fucking great almost
Loki
all the
was
time.
exactly. Loki was like like studio fucking quality.
Yeah.
And I maybe they, I don't know. I'm sure the rest of the series they'll work out, it'll look be better because we'll be more accustomed to the style of this show
Yeah.
maybe. But even from the trailer, then this is something that like still, not that you see the whole suit up, but
Yeah.
like the Moon Knight suit, the whole gimmick is like really, I don't like it. And like I think it looks really kind of bad CGI when it's coming out of him and starting to wrap him up and stuff like that. I'm like, it's just, I don't know. It just looks really fucking weird to me, and not in a good way.
I'll pass judgment when we see the whole suit,
the full suit up for sure.
Yeah, when we see the full suit up. But I think like the brief bit we see where like the lights are flashing and there are all the glyphs showing up behind him on the walls, and you sort of see a few of the wraps coming. I was like, that's pretty cool. I think I like that there's like a level of visceralness to this that we haven't seen in like an MCU property yet. Like there's only akin to like the Winter Soldier have we seen like some sequences that are very like jittery,
Yeah, I suppose I just like, for myself, I just look at I like the suit up. I like that you have
a suit rather than like something that just comes out of the ether.
Yeah, because, and I mentioned it when we first saw the trailer, it reminds me too much of like CW's attempt at Ragman when they introduced like Ragman onto like the Arrow show. It's like that same CGI.
Yeah, I get that. I can understand that.
And so it's just sort of like, I've seen it and it doesn't look good. Like, but I hope it gets better. I mean, it's not, and clearly it's with the mainstay Moon Knight suit. He's not gonna mystically create like a ski mask with the moon moon hood,
Knight.
Yeah. So that'll probably look cool. There's a lot to look forward to in this series in general.
I gotta give him props. The cinematography was great. The use of reflections, the use of mirrors. I guess people have been scrubbing it, and I guess there's even more that we didn't notice.
I just can't,
like before he started having his crisis, like there are moments where you can like see in reflections it's already looking back at him.
Interesting.
And it's like,
I just can't get over the pay, like how well they paced this episode with like the types of things that like like again with like those time lapses and stuff like that.
Hawke too.
Yeah, well, because Ethan Hawke, like his character is gonna build, for sure, but he starts out in a weird enough place to make you just like be unsettled, and you don't like him.
And I think I mentioned this on a previous episode. It's like it's a character that was in one comic and then never showed up again. So they have essentially
experimented on people on an island. Yeah, experimenting in like pain and stuff like that.
And then the Moon Knight run got canceled. Yeah. So yeah, it's like it's in name only. They can sort of do whatever they want with this. I am very excited,
and clearly they are, because that doesn't seem to have any same direction as like that character. It has it has a direct mystical tie to another Egyptian god.
Yeah, and actually sort of,
which is so much like, it's kind of like a Kal-El and like General Zod kind of situation.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And sort of spinning off into how we usually end the episodes with a lightning round of just random shit we've heard or stuff we're watching.
We should get a sound of bullshit round.
Bullshit, and then like a big like thunder bang. Yeah. I think so. The so I'm forgetting his name, but the showrunner for Moon Knight is doing a Nova series focusing on Richard Rider.
That'll be cool. I mean,
so that is confirmed. It is in early production. He is going to be show running it, he's essentially writing it. He's the head writer.
Okay, well, that's fucking cool. I mean, Nova's a fun character, and like as they get more and more cosmic, it's a character that they like for sure got to start including in the MCU.
Yeah.
So that'll be really interesting. Another I guess confirmed kind of thing going on is that we got to talk about Morbius. So Morbius, neither of us have seen it. I'm not intending to.
I listened to a description of the post-credit scene, and dude, it's fucking wild.
So it's sitting at like somewhere around 20% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Gross.
And that like has only crept up. Like when I first saw it this morning, it was like at like 17 or 18%. So it's only gone up like 2% or so as more people have watched it. And like it's been panned, like it's by critics already. You know, people are just like talking shit about it. Big fucking surprise.
What a surprise.
Yeah. But I just, we had to mention it. And I mean, once I will say, I'll watch it once it hits like a streaming service that I have or something.
Almost went and watched it once it started getting really bad reviews. You're like, let's go and just like have a good time and like relish a bad movie.
Maybe, man. But it can
be even then I was like, I'm gonna wait.
It just looks like garbage. Yeah.
But I know what happens in the post credits, and it's fucking stupid. It breaks all the rules from No Way Home.
Well, and doesn't just what is it? So
apparently Michael Keaton's Vulture from the MCU falls out of the space-time rift from No Way Home into Morbius's world.
Oh, what a waste.
In a world listeners can't tell, Jared just facepalmed.
That's so stupid.
So yeah, into a world where Adrian Toomes isn't a criminal and he's immediately set free. And and then there's another post-credit scene where he shows up in a Vulture costume that is slightly different than the one from the MCU. And he goes to Michael Morbius and is like, this happened because of Spider-Man. We should get some people together and do some good. That's
okay. So they're definitely trying to build up.
They're doing a good Sinister Six.
Oh God, dude, I really am genuinely just not interested in what Sony's pulling off over there. Like I don't care. Like you've taken the Michael Keaton. I don't think like his Vulture was like it wouldn't be a great reoccurring villain, but
I think a good villain for Homecoming.
It was a great villain for Homecoming, and it was a great character to just sort of have around in the MCU. You know what I mean? Like not for like another main feature, but
here's the notable thing for the second post-credit scene. Vulture never takes his helmet off, and it's obvious it's not Michael Keaton.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like well, I mean, come on. When they shot that, Michael Keaton most likely was probably doing fucking stuff on the Flash or the Batgirl movie that he's working on, because he's being featured in both. He's gonna be as Batman in both of those movies. So,
cool.
Yeah,
really breaking the time stream with Flash.
Hey, man. We'll see what fucking happens there. Hey, speaking of Flash, Ezra Miller got arrested recently, so I wonder how that's gonna pan out. Like that dude is he's like a future Hollywood serial killer. Like he's like in the last like year or so, he's done. So not only did he have that like weird controversy where it looked like he was like choking out some lady or something like that.
Yeah.
But then he later this or sometime this year, he released like these videos basically like calling out some white supremacists. Not that I'm saying that you shouldn't do that, but calling out some white supremacists, but like by saying like, things like, if you don't fucking like, knock it off, then like we'll come end it. Like stuff like that. What? Like leaving like direct, like almost direct threats in this video to people, like ending people's lives and shit. And then, you find out he's like involved in some sort of arrest in fucking like Hawaii or something over some sort of like violent act. And you're just like, this dude, WB really regrets making him the fucking Flash now.
It was already a weird casting to begin with.
Right?
Now they're in deep with the guy.
I just really hope that his like reputation as an actor or as a person, whatever he's doing in his personal life, I hope it tanks that whole franchise. That's my hope and dream for that movie now. But I'm looking forward to seeing Michael Keaton in it.
Yeah.
But
you have anything else? You have a couple HBO shows, correct?
Oh yeah, just frivolous throws away. I just wanted to make sure to shout out Our Flag Means Death. It's a fun, awesome pirate show.
Taika Waititi's in it, right?
Taika Waititi's in it, as well as Rhys Davies from, I believe is his name. And like a handful of other people you just instantly recognize. Like one of the guys from, me and Nadine were watching it, and picked it up. It's like Reese Darby. Sorry, that he's from Flight of the Conchords, but there's this other guy in there that's like
yeah,
he's from like
is that the guy from Legion? No, it's
No.
the other guy.
That's Jermaine Clement.
Yeah, it's the other guy.
But it's just a fun fucking show. And the only other random thing was like, for anybody that like really is missing other Game of Thrones vibe, apparently the follow-ups or the prequel-esque spin-off series has like an actual release date now. It's called House of the Dragon, and apparently it's getting released August 21st of this year. So
there you go. Right around the corner. That's actually pretty close.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how that pans out, because like that they have some fucking redeeming to do in terms of like bringing back the world of Westeros and shit, so
yeah, they got some work.
Yeah, either way though, some good shit. I'm looking forward to fucking keeping up on Moon Knight, man. Like, goddamn,
I'm hyped.
Yeah,
I'm hyped. I think hopefully this can mark getting out of, like, we're gonna have this. Hopefully Doctor Strange kicks ass.
Oh god, yeah.
Hopefully Miss Marvel's great. I still have faith.
I'm still willing to watch it. I'll say that, I guess.
We'll talk about this next week, maybe if we get any more. There have been some breakdowns showing the Embiggen. It looks like they're just sort of changing how it looks, but it's less like less Green Lantern-y.
I'd hope so, but you know what else isn't really Green Lantern-y?
Huh?
Our social media, which people should follow. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Old Heart Radio. Fucking find the podcasts at on Spotify and iTunes or on YouTube's.
Yeah. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. Tell your coworkers.
Don't tell your aunt. Tell your cool aunt, the aunt that drinks a bottle of wine at dinner. But
is that the cool one?
Is that the cool?
Is
one?
that the annoying one?
That's a good question. This might turn out to be a Donna.
Imagine it's the aunt with the one with the huge wine glass that could fit a whole bottle.
Yeah. It's just one glass. Jesus. All right. God. You're a hot dog. Make sure you dip yourself in some Old Heart Radio batter and turn yourself into a corn dog. If you're a corn dog, thank you for you, and thank you for so much. For all of you fucking corn dogs that listen, we're so stinking happy about you.
It's a pleasure.
Don't you know?
It's the best.
Don't you know, corn dogs? I got a new mic is. Good night.